Mr. Seppi. I hope you're doing great. I wanted to run some numbers today just based on a recent conversation I had with a client where we were kind of looking at, does it make sense to buy now? What would happen if rates move higher? What would happen if rates move lower? And it was eye-opening for them. And so I wanted to share this with you. So here is a total cost analysis. So as I'm recording this, here we are, early November 2023. If you're buying a $700,000 house with 20% down, you'd have a rate of about 7.75. The payment would be about $4,500 with taxes and insurance, and you need about $137,000 the day of closing. Okay, this is assuming that you can get now a $10,000 seller credit, because as the market is, there's less listings on the market always at the end of the year. There are certainly less buyers out there. A lot of the buyers that I have pre-approved are like, hey, we'll just start again. This happens every year, in the spring. The problem with waiting till the spring is that everyone else is doing that too. So right now there is a unique opportunity to be able to negotiate on price and negotiate a seller credit to either pay for closing costs or do a 2-1 buy down, or both, or buy down the rate even further. Okay, so there's a lot of money that is left on the table if we wait until more buyers come back into the market in the spring, or if rates start moving lower and then a lot of buyers come back into the market and the whole dynamics of buying a home changes. So in this case, again, you need about $138,000, $4,500 payment. Let's say we wait a year. This is the numbers we discussed with the client, right? We wait a year and we're assuming 4.5% appreciation. The $700,000 home is now going to cost you $731,000 to buy, which means you need more down payment. By then, if rates were to remain the same for a year, again, the competition, there are many people that want to buy a house. And when rates move higher, some people take a step back. But if rates were to remain high at this level, then people will come back into the market, right? So the first thing that would go away as the competition increases is a seller credit to pay for closing costs. So in this case, I was using a $10,000 seller credit, which means if you wait a year, the price goes up. Even if the rate is the same, you end up paying a couple $100 more per month the day of in your monthly payment, and then almost $20,000 more the day of closing. So that is a significant amount of money to have to save up to end up with a higher payment. Okay, the money at closing goes up because the seller credit possibly goes away if the competition increases, and also because you're paying more for the home, so you're borrowing more and your down payment is more. So this third column here is kind of like I don't think this is likely the case, but what if it does? What if rates go up? Okay, so if rates go up, the appreciation is still hanging around 4.5%. But if the rate goes from 7.75 to 8.75, you're going to end up with a payment that's about $400 higher. Okay, so with the $400 higher payment, or $500 higher payment, now you probably would still get a seller credit, right? Because if rates go up, maybe more buyers pull back on buying, and now you can still negotiate a seller credit for closing costs. But either way, you still need $8,000 more the day of closing, and you end up with a $600 higher payment than if you just bought the home today. So you can buy with less down payment now and a lower payment. Now, what if rates move down? This last column, what if rates move down 1%? Okay, so if rates move down, I'm guessing the appreciation is going to be more than 4.5%, because for every 1% drop in mortgage rates, about 5 million more people in the US can enter or re-enter the housing market. Okay, so the competition will go up, which means maybe it won't be as extreme as wild bidding wars that we saw a year ago, where you had to pay $100,000 over list price. But you're probably going to pay more than $731,000 for the house. But let's just say it's $731,000. The rate now is down 1% to 6.75. So you end up with a payment that's a couple $100 less than if you just bought the home now, but you need it about $20,000 minimum more at closing. That's assuming you're not getting into a bidding war, which was the norm the last few years, and having to cover 20, 30, 40, $50,000 of appraisal gap. So $20,000, if rates move lower, you're going to have a little bit lower payment if you buy a year from now, but you're going to need 20, 30, 40, $50,000 extra the day of closing in order to buy, which is just an amount of money that if you don't have that in savings already, it's almost impossible to save that much extra money in the next year. So the winning strategy is buy now, and that way you can secure the best price possible on the home and then do a refinance when rates move lower. Now you're going to get that much lower payment, and you're going to have 20, 30, 40, $50,000 extra still left in your savings account. If you have any questions or want to run through an example for you, just reach out. I'd love to help. Okay. Have a great